This video is sponsored by the Ultimate Freelancing Bundle by StudyWebDevelopment.com, which gives you everything you need to start your own freelancing business, including a 130-page in-depth guide, invoicing and client proposal templates, website templates, an SEO checklist, and much more. Visit the link in the description and use the code BRAD25 to get 25% off. Hey, what's going on, guys? So a couple weeks ago I did a video on deploying a site to GitHub Pages, okay, and we used the GH Pages NPM module. And in that video, there was a lot of comments mentioning Netlify, which is another fantastic service to deploy static websites, front-end applications, so you can deploy React, Angular, Vue, and it's a fantastic service. You get your free account, which offers a lot, and if you need more, then they do have pro accounts, okay? And this is not a sponsored video or anything like that. I don't have an affiliate link. When I find something that I think a lot of people will find useful and it will increase their productivity or, you know, help them deploy applications easily, then I want to let you guys know and show you how to do it. So this is netlify.com, and basically there's a few ways to deploy. I'm going to show you a couple different ways. You can go right from your repositories, so GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket. I don't have any experience with anything other than GitHub, but you can do it like that. I'm going to show you how to do that. But they have other stuff that is included, like server-side functions if you want to deal with AWS Lambda functions. And then they also have, I'm trying to find it, they have a form service. So where is it? Right here. So manage forms and submissions without any server-side code or JavaScript. So a lot of people, when they're getting into web development, they have trouble figuring out how to just create a contact form. So you have like PHP you could use, but you have to have a script to handle it and send the emails, and then you know, what about notification and stuff like that? This actually, if you use Netlify, you can just create a form and you can use the Netlify attribute like you see here, or you can do data Netlify equals true, and you can actually just submit the form and you'll see the submissions in your Netlify admin area. All right, now there is a restriction on the free account. I think it's 100 forms per month, 100 submissions per month. So if you have just you know, a small business website, that could be just fine. If you need more, then you could move up to the pro account. Okay, and there's also spam filtering you can implement, reCAPTCHA. The documentation for Netlify is actually really good. It's not too long, but it's very self-explanatory. You can also do AJAX form submissions. You get notifications, so if someone sends in a submission, you'll get notified. This tells you about the usage and billing. I think there is some extra charges if you want to do file uploads, which makes sense because that would take up storage. And I may do a video on the forms, but in this video I just want to simply show you how to use it, how to deploy a website or an application. All right, so I'm going to log in here, and you log in with either GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, or email. I'm going to use GitHub, and once you do that, it will automatically see all your repositories. So from here, and also you can actually, I think you could just drag and drop a zip folder of your website or your application. So you don't even have to use Git, I don't think. But we're going to say new site from Git, and we're going to choose a service. So I'm going to choose GitHub, and automatically it's going to see all of my repositories. So let's see, I have some full stack stuff here, some back-end stuff. So I want to choose the modern portfolio that I used in the GitHub Pages video. Now here you can choose a branch. I have a master branch and I have a GH Pages branch, which was actually created in that video. So if we look at that repository, the master branch has a dist folder, and that's where all the HTML, compiled CSS from SAS, all that stuff is, the images, JavaScript, basically whatever I want to deploy is in this dist folder. All right, now if I go to my GH Pages branch, it contains all the stuff directly in that folder that I want to deploy. So I can choose to deploy either of these branches. And what I would suggest doing is creating a separate branch for your deployment, for your production. That way you can still push to your master branch and it's not going to affect your website, okay? And then when you're ready, you can just push to your deployment branch. So down here you'll see publish directory. So if I were to choose master, as I showed you, there's a dist folder. I would put dist in here, okay, and it would deploy anything that's in that dist folder. But I'm actually going to choose the GH pages branch because it has everything right in there. That way I don't even need to have a publish directory. All right, so let's say deploy site, and it should be as easy as that. Okay, so it says site deploy in progress. It's already done, and it gives you a Netlify domain name. And I'm going to show you how to add a custom domain. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to open in a new tab, and there's our website. We're deployed. Okay, so that's it. And if we go over here and reload, it should show the little thumbnail right here, and that's it. And down here you'll see all your deployments, some statistics or whatever, recent form submissions. That's what I was talking about. So if you have a form people submit, you can simply come here and you can check them. So it makes, I think that's awesome. You have server-side functions, all kinds of stuff. So now what I want to do, and I'm going to show you how to add a domain after, but now what I want to do is show you how to use the CLI tool, okay, because there's a CLI tool on NPM that you can install and you can deploy that way. And if I go back to my dashboard, you'll see all your sites here, okay. So I'm going to open up a terminal, and I'm going to open it up in my typewriter effect project, and that's the last video I did where we did the little landing page that had the typing effect. And if I do an ls, you'll see what I have in here. It's just an index.html, just very simple static site with some JavaScript. So what we want to do is say npm install -g for global, and then netlify -cli. Okay, make sure you don't do just netlify, it's netlify CLI. And I'm going to get an error because I forgot sudo. So let me actually just stop that, and if you're on a Mac or Linux, then you're going to want to do sudo for global installations. Okay, so that's going to install it globally. All right, so once that's done, we can say netlify deploy. Okay, so we want to authorize, just asking for permission. We've granted permission. Access can be broke. Please close this window and return to your terminal. So we're going to close that up. Let's go back to our terminal. And it says no site ID specified. Create a new site. Yes. Path to deploy. So if you had like if I had my dist folder, like if we were in the modern portfolio directory, I would put dist or whatever. But now this is just everything's in the current directory. So I'm just going to hit enter. Okay, so it's going to go through, it's going to deploy, and it says deploy is live, and it gives us the Netlify domain. So now let's go back to my dashboard and reload, and now we have this. This is a crazy domain name, but it is deployed. Let's go here and click on the domain, and there we go. We have another deployment. So literally seconds. So now all I have to do is do Netlify deploy, and it will instantly get deployed. And I didn't even have to create a repository. I didn't have to deal with Git or any of that. So it's just a fantastic service. Now, if you want to do a React application, let's do that. So I'm going to cd out of here. I'm just going to go back to my home directory and go into dev. And I'm going to create a new React app. So let's say I'm going to use npx. And what npx will do is allow me to use something like create React app without installing it globally. So I'll do npx create -react -app, and I'm just going to call this test -react. All right, so it should create a folder called test react with the default React installation. I mean, I could have just got a React app that I had in my GitHub, but whatever, this is fine. I noticed npx takes a little longer because it's not on your system. All right, so now that that's done, let's just go ahead and just run npm start just to test out the dev server. Whoops, what am I doing here? I need to go into test React. and then we'll do npm start. This is just going to run the dev server. I just want to make sure that it works. Okay, so we just get the default landing page. Good. Let's go ahead and stop that. And now we're going to do a Netlify. I'm sorry. Before we do that, we actually have to build out our static assets, because if right now if I do an ls, this is the standard React structure, but we want to build out everything, so we just run npm run build. Okay, and what that's going to do is it's going to put everything into a build folder. All right, so now if I do an ls, if I list our contents, you'll see that there's a folder now called build. And if I look in there, you'll see that there's the index HTML, and then we have the where is it? The JavaScript. Oh, it's in static. So the JavaScript, CSS, everything like that is all in static. So now that I have that build folder, I'm going to say Netlify deploy. So new site, yes. And then it's going to say path to deploy, and we want to make sure we do build, because that's our static website, you know, that's built from React, that's compiled. So we want to say build. All right, so now it says deploy is live. Let's go back to our dashboard, and let's see, let's go right here and reload, and now we have this, and you can see the little thumbnail. Let's click on that and click on the URL, and there it is. All right, now I don't have any other, I'm not using like React Router or anything like that. You may have some issues with URLs. So if you have, like, let's say /users, you may run into some issues because it's going to look for a literal users folder, when in reality React it's a single page. It's going to be a single page app. So what you would do then, let me just find the docs for that. Let's say Netlify SPA domain. Yeah, this right here, redirect and rewrite rules. And over here on the side, you'll see history, push state, and single page apps. So what they tell you to do is to add this. You actually want to add this to a file called _redirects. Okay, and that file should go in your build folder. So to do that, let's see, where are we now? Let's cd into build. And if your app works, that's fine, but if it doesn't, like if you go to another page and it gives you an error or whatever, go into build, do touch _redirects, and then I'm just going to open up _redirects. Okay, it opened over here. Let's see, let's bring it over. Whoops, what is going on? Why can't I pull this out? I guess I can't. All right, so I'm going to bring this over here. You guys get a little sneak peek at my Django app. But in this redirects, we want to put this in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy that. And then we want to put that in there like that and save it. Okay, and then once you do that, you just want to redeploy. So we'll go back and then say Netlify deploy. Oh, you know what? I want to get out of this because I'm in my build directory. So we want to cd back out and then do Netlify deploy. And automatically it'll look at the build folder because that's what we did in the beginning. All right, so now if we go back and reload. Okay, so we're not going to see a difference because we have no routes or anything like that. But if we had other URLs to go to, they should now work. So just a little tip. All right, so those are some ways that we can deploy static websites and React apps. And of course, if you're using Angular, you have your dist folder, Vue. You know, when you build out your static assets, that's what you want to deploy. So now let's work on the domain. All right, so I'm going to close all this stuff and let's add a domain. Let's see, which one should we add it to? Let's do the modern portfolio one. So this right here, what I would do is say domain settings and add custom domain, and I'm going to use traversyapp.com, which is a domain name that I have registered with Namecheap. I'm going to say yes, add domain. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is go to namecheap.com, and I need to log in. All right, I'm just going to take it off the screen for a second to log in. I don't really know why, but I will anyways, because I know you guys can't see my password anyway. And you'll probably see my username. All right, so bring this back in. Let's attach it over here. All right. Yeah, you can see my username is TechGuy1 anyway, so that's what I was trying to hide, but it's fine. These are mostly just play domains anyways. So I want to look for traversyapp.com, which is right here. All right, and what we want to do is go to manage. Now, I realize that you may not use Namecheap, you might have something else, but most domain registrars, at least the good ones, will allow you to manage your A records and C names and things like that. So in this interface, what we would do is go to Advanced DNS, okay, and let's see, this stuff, we can actually get rid of this. Yeah, we don't need this stuff. First, I'm going to add the stuff. So we want an A record. And if I go to, let's see, documentation, and there's a few different ways to do it. Let me just search for Netlify domain or Netlify custom domain. Okay. So let's see. I mean, you guys can read through this if you want. I'm just going to try to find the place that I need, which is right here. Okay, so you can do it through their DNS, but I don't want to do that. I want full control of my domain. So I'm going to do this right here. I'm going to create an A record pointing to your root domain or to our load balancer's IP address, which is this, 104.198.1452. So that's what I want to set my A record to. And right here in host, you just want to put the @ symbol, okay, meaning just the root. And then I'm going to put that address in there, and I'm going to click the check. Okay, so in addition to that, we need to add a CNAME. So we're going to say CNAME, and the host is going to be www. In fact, before I do that, let me go back to this page, my interface in Netlify, and reload. Let's see, check DNS configuration. Oh, maybe it didn't. All right, never mind. Maybe that just didn't hit yet. But that should disappear soon. For the CNAME record, we're going to do www, and the target is going to be this right here. Okay, whatever your Netlify domain is, yours will be different. It'll be some crazy shit and then .netlify.com. So we want to go back and put that as our target, like that. Okay, so A record goes to this IP, CNAME, www goes to whatever your Netlify domain, and save. All right, now this is probably not going to work yet because it needs time to propagate. I'm also going to get rid of this other stuff here. Definitely want to get rid of that. All right, so now all I have is the A record and this CNAME. So if I go back here and reload, let's see. Okay, so now you can see that those check management, whatever it said, that has disappeared. So we should be all set. Traversyapp.com is our primary domain, and then www, that version of the domain should just redirect to that. Okay, so let's try it out. I mean, it's probably not going to work yet. We get this HTTPS. That might take time to kick in. Let me just accept it. So I'm going to say proceed. All right, so there's our site, and let's just check the inner pages here. So these work. Awesome. Now we do have this this not secure up here, and I just did this about an hour ago and went through the same process, and it didn't do this. But if we go back to our overview here, let's see, secure your site with HTTPS. So down here, Okay, so yeah, waiting on DNS propagation. So once it propagates fully, that error should just go away. Let's see, verify. Oh, DNS was successful. So let's go back. HTTPS traversyapp.com. Yeah, it's still doing it. Okay, if provisioning your certificate takes longer than 24 hours, contact support. So it should work. That should fix, that error should go away, and you should have HTTPS. If it doesn't, like it says, contact support. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and wait for it to propagate correctly, but it should. It should, and if it doesn't, again, just contact support. So that's it, guys. So we've deployed 3 different websites. I know this is like a 20-minute video or whatever. Obviously, I do explain stuff, but you could literally deploy in a minute or so. And you can see adding a domain is very easy. You just add your A record, your CNAME, and you should be all set. Okay, and I might do another video on expanding on Netlify using some server-side functions and implementing a form and stuff like that, but I wanted this to be kind of an introductory video. All right, so that's it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a thumbs up, and that's it. Enjoy your weekend. Hey guys, one of the best, if not the best resource I can refer you to for starting a freelance business is at studywebdevelopment.com/freelancing. The creator Kyle shared it with me, and I can personally vouch that this bundle is well worth it. You get a 130-page guide to freelancing, and it comes with things like invoice templates, client proposals, HTML and CSS templates, a portfolio website, access to a private Facebook community, and much more. So use the code BRAD25 to get 25% off today.